My partner playing video games is getting old to me. Although I also enjoy playing video games, I am sick of him living his life solely on them. He works from 7 to 4, streams on Twitch from 5 to 11, then from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., generally later till 12 or 2 a.m. He somehow believes that playing a game that I play counts as spending time with me. You and I do not wish to play games. I would like to see you. I would like to go out to dinner with you. Every other week, I want you to touch me more than once, talk to me, and watch a movie with me. I am so over this. I have supported you throughout our relationship because you want to become a successful streamer, but I really want to point out that after more than a year, you still only have 500 followers. On your channel, nobody speaks. You might have a guest speaker on your channel once every 5 streams. At the age of 26, you are squandering your time on a child's fantasy. You play video games for half of your life, yet you do not try to earn more money per hour in a profession that has no future prospects or perks. You spend the entire time we are together watching Twitch and YouTube videos, even on Tuesdays and Thursday nights when you have free time. Sleeping next to me 2 or 3 times a week does not qualify as spending time with me, as much as I hate to tell you. I am sick of this, it is so silly. I am tired of losing out to online gamers and people who do not give a damn about you because you have the phony justification that it is my dream. No, you simply do not want to work hard to improve your life, instead, you wish to win the lottery, become famous, or something so that you would not have to work for your money. I am sorry to tell you, but that also requires effort. This is why you will never succeed because you believe that gaining followers will come from putting in a lot of hours. Instead of just sitting there looking blankly and expecting people to watch you play a game, you actually need to work and genuinely be good at it. I may be being overbearing, but really, screw this. Night Diaries Hub. Is it wrong of me to accuse my parents of ruining my upbringing because of their polyamory? I think it began when I was about 7 years old. My parents frequently hosted guests at their home. Naturally, I was unaware that they were polyamorous. I was playing outside one day when I got hurt, and when I came home, I saw my parents having sex with a stranger. They assured me that it is quite normal for them to love other grown-ups. When I was younger, I simply accepted that. Their spouses would be present at all times, even accompanying them on outings, and they stopped being clandestine. My parents invited 3 of their partners, one of whom I had never seen before, to my 10th birthday party. For the remainder of the day, they simply left and spent time with them. They would kiss, hug, and make flirtatious remarks to their partners, things that would be typical between parents, but with a lot more people, but I never saw them do anything explicit again. There were occasions when I returned home from school to find my parents gone and an unfamiliar adult living with us. A few of them were shocked that my parents had a child at all. Although I always detested it, I assumed that many adults undoubtedly did the same thing and that it was just something that many children detested since my parents had taught me it was normal. They ultimately appeared to cease and had fewer partners. I moved out when I was 17, so I cannot say for sure. I stopped thinking about it. For other reasons, I began therapy a year ago. The subject of my childhood was up, as usual, and it evoked a lot of emotions I was unaware of. I came to the realization that although my parents were always kind to me, I never felt particularly close to any of them, and I still have a great deal of bitterness toward them because they made me feel as though I had to vie for their attention with strangers. When I visited them a while back, they informed me that they would be participating in a documentary about polyamorous families and that the producers wanted to interview the kids. They would thus be thrilled if I could concur and let everyone know that polyamory does not harm children. I answered, I cannot agree because I would not be able to say anything positive, as all of my animosity became apparent. My parents had a surprised expression. They asked why I had never brought this up before, so I opened out completely. We hardly had any family time without outsiders interrupting, and I constantly felt ignored. It escalated into a fight, and I yelled loudly that, in all honesty, it had messed me up and that, if their top concern was to please everyone, they should not have had a child. My father said I should definitely go, and my mother sobbed. I was shaken for the remainder of the week after leaving, but I also felt bad because I had never before made my mother weep. Later, I received a message from my father saying, "We are sorry you feel that way. Can we talk about this in a calm way soon?" I have tried to respond, but it seems impossible. I became really emotional over this disagreement. I have never brought this up before, so Night Diaries hub for hurting my parents over it. His description of coming home from school to find his parents gone but a random adult in the house, some of whom were even shocked they had a child, is immediately one of the strangest parts of the entire story. It must be quite unsettling to return home to find a strange man standing there with no apparent reason for his presence. You are not sure whether your parents know him or if he is a burglar. In any case, if that occurs frequently enough, it does not seem very safe for a child because anything could go wrong. The child becomes frightened or worse. He seems to be blaming himself for not talking about it sooner, but it also sounds like he finds it difficult to comprehend and that it took him a long time to figure out how he felt about it. I believe that a lot of unwarranted stress is placed on the fact that it has not been brought up. When the father contacted him, he essentially said, "We are sorry you feel this way, but not that we are sorry for doing X, Y, and Z." This was one of the most widely shared viewpoints on the entire situation. However, I assume that is because he prefers to have the entire talk face-to-face rather than sending a text apology. However, based on what the child says here, the main cause of the issue appears to be that they value their own pastime more than the child. He apparently thought he was excluded. In my opinion, he portrays it as though he spent his entire life vying for his parents' attention against total strangers. Given that they will put their personal lifestyle before spending time with their children, it is odd that these people would have children. They most likely believe that what they did was sufficient, but it is obvious that the child doesn't. The question then becomes, what are your thoughts? Night Diaries hub for screaming at his parents and accusing them of ruining his upbringing because they are polyamorous. Night Diaries hub for snooping around in my adult son's marriage and making a scene. I hope my grammar will not be criticized because I am 61 years old and terrible at texting on mobile devices. This is the crucial backdrop. My 33-year-old daughter-in-law and her 34-year-old son have 3 children, 3, 2, and 4 months old. By telling her how happy my marriage was and how wonderful his childhood was, he persuaded her to sell her business and become a stay-at-home parent. I discovered today that our arrangement was that everything was 50-50 before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. I was taken out twice a week and had Sunday off. Let us get started with the story. I saw my daughter-in-law was having mental health issues during my most recent visit, so my sister, who is 55, and her girlfriend, who is 53, got together and paid for a spa weekend for them while we watched the kids for her birthday last weekend. On Thursday night, as I was getting ready for the kids to arrive, my daughter-in-law called me while crying and said they would not be going because my son's buddy had come to town and he wanted to spend the weekend catching up with his friend. I asked her a few questions and briefly discussed her predicament. Because, allegedly, that is what stay-at-home parents do, she came clean about his performing no chores, no date nights, and her essentially taking care of all the childcare. To be honest, I was repulsed. I persuaded her to take a friend to the spa and drop me off at the kids. I even took money out of my savings to give her 500 euros so she could treat herself. I urged her to tell me where her son was when she put the kids off, and after 5 minutes, she told me it was the bar. I went to the pub, and she went to the spa. She was aware that I was traveling there and that the children were being looked after by my sister, who is now my sister-in-law. And this is where I might be the NDH. We both believe that your relationship should come before your foolish inebriated buddies, so when I went to the bar where he and his friends were, I sat down next to the group and asked my kid if I had failed him as a mother or if it was his father. In the end, I embarrassed him and was barred from the pub. My son is calling me a NDH for embarrassing him by putting my nose in his marriage, and my daughter-in-law claims she will be taking the kids to her parents when she returns tomorrow. Perhaps I ought to have remained out. I am not sure. Night Diaries hub. It appears that the mother in this instance took the necessary action. It sounds like a lot of it was done in the heat of the moment, but perhaps she could have spoken to him privately, or perhaps this is the only way it could have reached him. When she learned that his wife was dealing with all of this, she was quite irritated and even a little ashamed, because that is not how she wanted to be seen as having raised her son. Is she the NDH here, or do you believe she went too far in making fun of him in the bar? Tell me what you guys would do and what you think. Night Diaries hub for removing my cousin from the Zoom call for my sister's wedding. I am a man 28-year-old. For more than a year, my older sister, who is 31 years old, and her fiancé, who is 31, planned their wedding for this month. They chose a Zoom wedding, where everyone of my family and friends would simply call in to see the officiant, my sister, and her fiancé. Of course, they cannot have the wedding as planned, but they still want to get married. I readily accepted my sister's request to host the Zoom call, since she did not want to do it alone because she felt it would be stressful. She and her fiancé made the decision to invite everyone they had originally intended to, and the list was quite large. My sister told me, as we were reviewing the list, that she wanted everyone else to be muted for the most part of the wedding because she was afraid that people would talk over her and her fiancé and quote overshadow them on their already scaled-down special day. She and her fiancé, however, suggested that I unmute everyone at one point so that everyone could converse and enjoy themselves. On the wedding day, everyone remains quiet during the ceremony, which proceeds smoothly. In order to prevent confusion, I unmute everyone and ask that they raise their hands if they would want to speak. I suppose my cousin, who is about my age, is with his long-term partner when he begins to wave his hand wildly. I was not surprised because he is a highly gregarious guy. My sister and her husband are such an inspiration, it has given me the courage to do this, he continues. He then turns to face his girlfriend and takes out a box the size of a box used to hold engagement rings. This instantly struck me as him attempting to take center stage, something he has done since we were young. For instance, if the adults praised my sisters and my drawings, he would covertly ruin them. I ended the call with him as a result. I then hastily announced that my cousin would not be returning due to technical issues. My sister and her husband followed suit after everyone else accepted this and started discussing. The remainder of the wedding proceeded without incident, but I wrecked everything when my cousin continued emailing me angrily to explain that he finally wanted to pop the question as a surprise with family present. I received the identical text from my uncle and aunt. Night Diaries hub, then. There is a constant debate among people over whether or not it is appropriate to make a major announcement or make a proposal during a family gathering that has been planned by someone else. As you may recall, we previously discussed a story in which they received very bad news. At the time of the announcement, which was related to the fact that one of their children was very ill, another member of the family took advantage of the situation to reveal that they were expecting a child. If you wish to see the video, I will look for the link in the description. However, people appear to disagree greatly on such kinds of issues. Many times, people ask themselves, why should not they be together, and other times, if the family is united for a reason, then that reason should be the only reason for it. This seems to be the perfect divide. Clearly, the guy who proposed felt he could use it as a way to bring a lot of people together for his proposal, and the OP here wanted to make it all about the wedding couple. It probably would not be a huge concern if this had occurred at a non-critical point in the wedding, perhaps well after the ceremony was over or after everything else had been completed, but I am positive that many people would still be bothered by it. He proposed in front of everyone, thus the question is, would it concern you, or do you think he was at NDH for taking him off the Zoom call? If I stopped making cookies for the retreats that had become accustomed to them, would I be the NDH? We have quilting retreats once a month, and I work part-time at a quilt shop. I have been working at the retreats more and more over the years, and now I cook cookies for them and the proprietors pay me for the ingredients, except for the chocolate chip cookies, which I generally make for free. I am not boasting, but my chocolate chip cookies are pretty good. It took me years to get it the way I wanted, and the recipe is kept under wraps. In order to persuade individuals to purchase a retreat spot, the proprietors have begun promoting the cookies, which have become a mainstay of the retreats. I am not paid to bake these cookies, and I am not even compensated for the ingredients I use. I just started since I enjoy baking and sharing them with others. At first, it was enjoyable, but now, whenever I enter the store around retreat times, I am inundated with questions such, "Did you bring cookies? The cookies are missing." I cannot recall the last time I heard from any of the retreat participants or any staff members who only work on the retreats to ask how they are doing. My name is unknown to half of the attendees of the retreats. Despite being repeatedly reminded of my name, they still refer to me as Cookie Lady. I informed the proprietors that I could not prepare the retreat this month since I have a guest visiting. "We shall miss your cookies," said another retreat staff member upon hearing this. "Not only will we enjoy spending time with your friend, but we will also miss you." I do not even want to bake them for them anymore because I feel like the blasted cookies now represent my entire value to them. I enjoy baking, but I also enjoy trying new things, so when I presented brownies instead of cookies, I received criticism. Making these cookies is no longer enjoyable, yet I feel compelled to do it. Making them is something I do not even get paid for, yet all of a sudden it is required of me, which only causes me worry and hurt. If I stopped baking them and advised folks to handle it themselves, would I be the NDH? I can certainly understand how hurtful this may be. At the retreat, people are not even considering her as someone they want to be. She is only being viewed as a tool by them. The cookie maker. If that were the case, I imagine she might view this a little differently as a rationale for why it does not matter if she is there as long as the cookies are there because at least she is making money, but she is not. This person shows up just to have cookies and not even for a paid service, as she repeatedly stated in this post that she does not get paid for them. She is under no duty whatsoever to continue doing this, but I thought it was a truly beautiful thing to provide to everyone there. When she wanted to do it, it was just a really wonderful thing to do, but now it appears like it is bothering her, not the cookie making itself, but everything that goes along with it. Let me know what you think, even though it seems like the cookies were too successful. What would you do if you made a cookie so delicious that everyone wanted you for them? Is she the NDH here?